Is drifting actually faster than grip driving on a Touge? In this video we'll be doing highly scientific tests to finally get an answer to the 2-decade-old question. So make sure you put on your safety goggles and strap yourself in. We'll be testing both grip and drift styles of driving, then comparing them. And at the end of the video I'll be teaching you a style of driving used by skilled sim racers and racing drivers to help you improve your Touge skills. So make sure you stay tuned for that. If you're a fan of the initial D series or even just seen the first episode, you'll know that the protagonist, Takumi, is a tofu delivery driver. His task is to deliver said tofu in as little time as possible so it doesn't go cold. If only real life delivery drivers were like Takumi, right? Anyway, in this series, Takumi drives around the Touge roads of Japan. Takumi's father has trained him in a certain style of driving that is both fast yet smooth. In this series, it appears as though Takumi is drifting, and it is his style of driving that inspired a generation of petrolheads to take up drifting. However, if we take a look at his driving, it isn't like the typical style of drifting that we're used to seeing today. It's a style of drifting that prioritises speed over style. This is a style of drifting that I'll be attempting to replicate in these tests. I'll be driving a total of 3 runs for both drift and grip, then comparing the fastest time to finally find out which is faster. I'll be using the default Assetto Corsa AE86 for both runs with slight setup changes, so the test is fair. Tests will be performed on Tsukuba Fruits line Touge, as it's short but embodies everything that makes a Touge, from long sweeping corners to hairpins and even some straights. It's a great Touge, and as always links to mods are in the description. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. First up is the drift run. Now before you click off the video, I have cut down these runs as much as possible, so you're not going to be watching the full thing, so you're just going to be watching some highlights or more likely some lowlights. But yeah, as you can see, first corner I'm just trying to keep the car very shallow in the corner. If we go wide like we're used to seeing in the modern day drifting, we're going to lose so much time. And as you can see here, I'm not trying to drift everything because that will definitely make us lose some time. I'm just trying to drift the corners where I think it will be faster. And it's here you can really see the rally heritage of drifting coming through, where you're just trying to get around as quickly as possible. And of course in the 90s the Japanese were big into rally, so it's not surprising that we can see some aspects of rally driving coming through into their car culture. So we're on 2 minutes now, and this was a terrible corner. Started understeering, but we got through anyway, and that is the end. It was a 2:34.937, so let's see if we can beat that in the grip run. Now we're in the red car for the grip run, and let's go. So I'm going to try and show you some different corners now. So first up, just using all of my track training here, just trying to apex the corners as finely as possible. It was actually surprisingly hard to drive this car in a grip sense. I'm used to sliding it more, especially on this Touge. Of course there's no ABS or traction control, so the brakes do lock up very easily, especially when you're performance driving like this. See, late apex there, that's my training coming in. Understeering a lot on these downhill runs. Just got to be very delicate with the steering. Now we're up to the final corner, I believe. It's very close, I have to say. And that was a 2:30.167. And so that is the end of our test. You shouldn't be surprised that grip won, but as you can see the times are surprisingly close. But make sure you stick around because I'm going to show you a combination of both of these styles that will obliterate both of these times. I definitely feel as though I could beat the grip run while drifting if I had a little more time and practice in the default AE86. It was actually surprisingly hard to get that thing sliding consistently, and the setup work didn't help. Now if we directly compare both the runs on a single corner, we can actually see that the drift run does in fact look faster. Now we're getting slow-mo. The grip car actually enters the corner sooner, but as you can see by the middle of the corner the drift car is looking slightly faster. Now if we skip ahead to the end now, the drift car actually exits the corner later, which suggests that there may be some inconsistencies with my driving in a test, thus adding the extra 4 seconds. But to provide a counter argument, we could have just lost time on straight and long sweeping corners where the grip car would probably be faster. So if we've learned anything in this test, it's probably that combining both grip and drift styles of driving would be the fastest, which makes perfect sense as in the initial D cartoon we actually see Takumi using this style of driving, and this is a style of driving that I'll be trying to teach you today, so make sure you carry on watching to help improve your Touge skills. So I did a third run in the white AE86 using the style of driving which I believe Takumi uses. As you can see, it isn't quite drifting nor grip, but it's somewhere in between. This is what we call the use of slip angle. In this slow-mo shot you can see I'm not actually counter steering, but using the acceleration of the car to rotate it. And from above now, you can see the car is always diagonal. If we pause it here, and you can see the circumference of the corner on the yellow line and the direction of the car on the blue one. This red area is the angle between the circumference of the corner and the angle of the car. The closer the blue line is to the yellow one, the quicker we get around the corner. This pink line represents the usual angle at which you would attack the corner in a grip run. As you can see, the blue line intersects the pink line heading closer towards the yellow one. By utilising slip angle, you can greatly reduce the angle at which you attack a corner, thus making you faster. Now of course this is quite an advanced driving technique and it takes hours of practice in the same car to get good at it. So this technique did a 228.283 on the exact same run in the exact same car. This technique absolutely obliterates grip driving and drifting. So make sure you try and use it in your next Touge run. Now a lot of sim racers probably already know about this technique, however I'm probably right in saying that a large chunk of Touge drivers don't sim race competitively regularly, so hopefully this was useful. Now if you want to use this technique it requires a fine balancing act. You want to balance the car just on the edge before it loses traction. You shouldn't be counter steering as much if at all, as that will inevitably lose you time. Now of course you'll have to learn this in every single car, which is why it's a good idea to pick one car and stick to it, even if you're on a Touge server or playing in single player. Now I'm not going to go into specifics on how to do this, but it should be intuitive to any decent driver. And as you can see here in the initial D series, Takumi is actually using slip angle to get around this corner. And this is what I believe that this is the style of driving that Takumi was indeed using. There's a much better video that explains all the slip angle stuff in more depth than I have today. I'll leave it in the pinned comment down below, so make sure to check it out as it inspired this video really. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.